This is an extension of our earlier open meeting, so let's go.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
So, yes, this is a joint meeting between the Board of County Commissioners and the Environmental Advisory Committee. I'm going to turn things over to Brenda so I don't steal any of her thunder.
So you may remember from last year that we have a joint meeting in January every year with the Board of County Commissioners and the Environmental Advisory Council. And at the meeting, we typically review the annual report from the previous year so that, lets you know what they accomplished last year. And then we go over the work plan that they have proposed for the coming calendar year. And we don't look for like a vote on it or anything, just general concurrence. Because of course it's always subject to change throughout the year if you want to add something, or sometimes we need to be flexible. For example, we had a project several years ago that was on the work plan, and MDE still hasn't adopted regulations for us to be able to move forward. So flexibility sometimes is needed. But I thought maybe we would start out with introductions because we don't have our newest members here. I think the three we have here at the moment were all here last year, but still might be nice to know who everybody is.
Okay. I'm Craig Paskowski, Chair of the EAC for the past year, and saw you guys last year. So I hope you've had a good year, and it's everything that you hoped it would be.
How long have you been on?
Since 2017. Yeah, I was Vice Chair for a couple years with Frank and took over last year.
Tom Scanlon?
How long you been on?
I don't know, about 3 years maybe?
3 years?
Something like that.
Tamara Strobel. You guys are all much more comfortable with each other than you were last year. It's kind of cool to see everyone's done. I've been with the Environmental Advisory Council for just 1 year.
Do you want to do introductions all the way down the line, or?
It's up to
Where?
Sure. Mike Aaron, District 4, County Manor, southwest of part of the county.
Commissioner Tom Gordon, District 3, Westminster surrounding area.
Kenny Kyler, District 2. I'm also currently president, but none of the other four respect me.
You and Rodney Dangerfield.
Where's your brightly colored coat on the golf course?
I'll tell you.
Joe Vigliotti, District 1, the northwestern part of the county.
And Ed Rothstein, District 5.
Roberta Wyndham, County Administrator.
Chris Hine, Director of Planning and Land Management.
And
Your
Bailey, Deputy Director.
I'm Brenda Denny, Special Projects Coordinator for Planning Land Management and the Secretary to the Environmental Advisory Council. So just quickly, role of the EAC. I know I gave you a presentation last year, but now you're veterans. So I'm just going to quickly review that the role of the EAC, their primary role is to serve an advisory capacity to the board when you have an environmental related issue on which you would like them to do some research and provide information back. Generally, they prepare a report, provide background information and options for the board to consider if you wanted to move forward with something. So that's typically what's done when they are fulfilling their primary role. Their secondary role, when we don't have something like that to work on, is public outreach. So you tend to see a lot of public outreach projects from the EAC when we don't have something that the board wants them to work on that's more research and report related. So those are, like I said, those are the primary roles of the EAC. They also administer an environmental action awards every other year. And this year the awards were done at the Environmental Symposium. We've done a lot the past couple of years to kind of ramp up the importance and prestige of this award, and actually this year under the student engagement category we had someone donated a $1,000 scholarship for the winner in the student category, and somebody else did a $500 scholarship for the runner-up. So the awards are hopefully raising awareness for environmental issues. So like I said, those are the primary roles. I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. I'd like to pass it on to Craig. He's going to review the annual report with you, which is this document here.
Okay. Basically, there were three main projects that we accomplished last year. Two of them we presented to you in September when we met there. First one was the environmental stewardship booklet, which we updated, and it looks like that, which is a great resource. It talks all about what the county is doing regarding environmental projects, from everything from recycling to code to land preservation, ag preservation, that stuff. That is sent to it's available for citizens, businesses, and it's also sent to our legislators. Right? And I believe we recently sent them out again to the legislators, considering their session just started last week. The second item that, again, I brought up and talked about in September was the public outreach item that we did regarding the preventing, managing, and eradicating invasive plants and noxious weeds. And this is regarding what Brenda kind of outlined. This is pretty typical of some of the stuff that we do. There's an issue. It's directed to homeowners and residents, and kind of gives them an awareness of what the issue is, what the problem is. It's not an all-encompassing thing, but it's to draw their attention to it. We present a couple of examples of some of the more common invasives and weeds around, what actions they can do to avoid them, prevent them, and hopefully eradicate them. Right. So that looks like, I don't know if you remember that, but that was this one. Then the third item, which Brenda alluded to, was the Environmental Action Awards, which we presented this year in conjunction with the Environmental Symposium. It was held at the Ag Center at the end of October. This was a change for us a little bit. In the past, this is something we do every 2 years. In the past, we've presented those awards in April, somewhat in conjunction with the Earth Day. We found them where we've had tree plantings with it, and we did a tour of the Westminster Community Pond. Right. So this, we had talked about trying to get a little more exposure for it. It was a great idea to dovetail it to the symposium. It's the second year for the symposium. So I think that turned out really well. We were a little worried timing-wise, because before we had all over the winter while school was in session to publicize it. In this case, since it was in October, a lot of the publicity part of it was over the summer, when people are on vacation and school's out, that kind of stuff. But, so we worried for a little bit, but we ended up getting quite a few nominations, to the point where it made it kind of difficult to choose. Yeah, right, it's definitely a good problem to have. So we also did a table there for the second year in a row at the symposium, where we have all these kind of publications that we've done in the past. Besides that, like you mentioned, it was about 70 and 75 and sunny, so I think that kind of hurt attendance a little bit. But otherwise, I think that turned out really well. Again, a $1,000 scholarship. We had 2 runners-up for the students, and then the main winner there.
I think the symposium was excellent. I was able to attend, and I thought, I was not able to attend last year, so I don't have a comparison other than from what was described, but I thought everything was great. I mean, the participants that I particularly liked, I know this wasn't the environmental awards, but the trash recycling things, the creativity that these students did to create really cool things out of trash was just amazing. I don't know if you took pictures of each of them or all, but that would be sort of fun to maybe share a photo album of the ones that they, because I don't know if everyone's seen them. You might have seen the winner, but I don't know if you've seen all of them. There were some very creative ones, if I could just suggest. It was really cool. but very well done, very nice morning and a lot of good information, and it's good. I think people enjoyed it.
Yeah, so afterwards, we met and kind of discussed how everything went, kind of kicked around different ideas on ways to tinker with it,
Right.
improve. I mean, for only the second year, I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
you know.
Very
Yeah, I think we were competing a little bit with was the Crab Cake Festival
Yeah.
or something like that? And it was kind of funny going out and seeing the sea of cars that were coming. We're like, wow, we're gonna get inundated, but then they all went over to the farmer's market.
The other thing that's kind of ironic, sorry, the winner for the recycling recycled art contest also won the Student Engagement Award. And they're totally separate, decisions, so that was interesting. But I think the one thing that's nice about the recycled art is you mentioned is people can see it. When, the unfortunate thing is when the EAC presents their awards, you really can't show people what their projects were.
Yeah.
Because they're, specific locations.
Right.
And I believe in total, I forget the exact count, but I believe we had well over 100 people that voted on the recycled art. So we had a pretty good group of folks that were exposed to the various community groups. And that's really the intent of the symposium, right, is to pull together community environmental groups that do like trash pickup and things like that, and get them connected with general citizens as well as the county. So how can we all work together to support our each individual missions? So
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, we're happy with how it's progressing and looking forward to this coming fall.
Yeah, I think it shows really how, being in the county for 30 years, you hear I've been involved in a couple different things, roadside cleanups and tree plantings and this and that. So it's good to see this kind of come together.
Yeah, happily support each other.
See that, there's other people doing this kind of stuff
Yeah.
in the county, and encouraging. Okay, were there questions on any of those projects? Yeah. Okay, so after those, we also put together some ideas for projects for 2024, which I'll go over in a minute here. Would want to mention that the board is, for one time here, fully staffed, 9 members, right? Which is the first time since I've been on it.
You just jinxed us.
Yeah. Well, I have something to say. I will note, though, that 2 of the members, Tamara and Charlene, they're up for reappointment at the end of this month. So you might want
Do you want to reappoint them?
to.
Do you want them to be?
Oh, yes, for
Do you
sure,
want them
for
to be
sure.
reappointed?
I would highly recommend.
Okay,
yes.
do they want to be reappointed?
Well,
Yes, I do.
Okay. That definitely helps us sway decisions when they're time to be made, so, thanks.
I think it's a good mix of a lot of, different backgrounds, and it's particularly like new blood, people coming in with some new ideas, some people related to scouts, which we'll talk about too. So it's good. It's a good mix.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'm up
I've-
for reappointment because somebody else had left before their term was up, so I came on just to fill in
To fill in
their
that position,
last
yeah.
year of term.
And I already sent up the draft letters. If you do care to reappoint both of them, they're ready to sign, so
Yeah.
Wanda has
Those aren't
those.
the ones that Roberta threw in the trash can, are they?
You weren't supposed to say that out loud?
Okay.
No, she put it in recycling.
Recycling, right? I was much better, I recycled it, yeah. Good for you.
It's good.
Very good, Brenda, I like that.
Okay, so this year, I guess there's, mentioned the ongoing responsibilities for the board. Since we just did the Environmental Action Awards this past year, that won't come up again until 2025. But probably at the end of this year, we'll start looking at that, and also kind of go back to some of the items that we discussed tinkering with it, and publicity-wise too, I think is a really big thing.
And the EAC members are the ones who actually secure our sponsors or those who donate the prizes. So they need to start that early in order to be able to, you know, get that done, because sometimes it takes a while.
Big deal.
Are all the sponsors Carroll Countyans?
Yes,
Yeah.
Just happen to be Carroll County, but are they Carroll Countyans,
yes. And
sponsors?
when we do it, I have all of those businesses
Yeah.
listed on the awards
Mhm.
webpage
Yeah.
so that people know who the sponsors are, and
Yeah.
it's, you know, we advertise it. One of the sponsors, the sponsor for the $1,000 scholarship this
Mhm.
year was one of our EAC members through her business. So, and so all of our members live in Carroll County, of course. And then they were all businesses in
Mhm.
Carroll County that
Good.
that
That's great.
donated.
In my case, Sun Nurseries donated gift baskets. There are stores in Howard County,
Mhm.
but we do own a growing farm in
Mhm.
Carroll County. And so we do a lot of installation and other delivery out there.
Have you moved on to the work plan?
Okay, sure, exactly, yeah, keep me
I'm
rolling.
not sure if you have. I just wanted to let them know that you did
That's
if you
fine.
did.
Yes,
So
so
we're on this stuff right now.
for 2024, there are, again, like three kind of main items that we were looking at doing. And the first is public outreach on water conservation. And this kind of follows that same guideline or outline that we did with the invasive species, in the sense that we talk about the issue, the need to conserve water, why it's important, give some data, like rough data with it, then tips for conserving water, and other resources that, links, and if people want to investigate this more. Now, this is kind of tied to last summer, if everybody remembers the drought that we had, and, right, MDA declared a drought warning. Now that, of course, is passed, but there's still issues. One, I'm sure that's going to pop up again. And then there's also the development, the pressure from development and the demand for water in that respect. So it is a precious commodity that we probably all need to rethink how we use it and preserve it, particularly with farms.
And all the municipalities as well, definitely into conserving water.
We'll work with the WRC, the Water Resource Coordination Council, on this, so that we can include, since a lot of our residents and most of our public water systems, not including Freedom, are in municipalities. So we will work with them to make sure that we address, you know, what they have in place as well.
And also, most of them are dependent upon groundwater as opposed to reservoirs or surface water, with the exception of Westminster and of course.
And the Freedom,
Farmers.
yes.
So,
Mhm. Yep. But they are interrelated.
yes, they're.
Yes, they are. Yep.
So this is something we're targeting to get done before summer, end of spring, early summer. As you get into those hot, dry months, typically, it's, you know, going to be July and August, so this will be available to people, you know, as that part of the season hits. Second project we hope to do is this public outreach, again, for food waste reduction. And this, I think, is really a very timely piece. There's a lot of buzz about reducing the amount of food waste that goes into landfills. There's statistics that's roughly about a quarter, 24%, 25% of food waste. Food waste accounts for about 24, 25% of what's going into our landfills. So I know several states have enacted legislation to ban food waste in landfills. This is probably something that's going to come down from the state at some point, some sort of guidelines.
Guidelines.
Strong recommendations.
Hey, and I apologize, I've asked Chris if they can do anything about the volume. I don't hear well, and I'm not hearing everything, but on food waste, what do the businesses do? Do the restaurants do anything? It seems like some places are so proud of their serving size, and everybody takes a doggy bag home, and I joke about it in my family and say, I either throw it out of my car in about a week, or we throw it in the garbage at home. You know, is there anything we can do with that to help food waste?
That's one of the things that we'll be
Yeah.
looking at as part of this process of developing this. And another reason why this is kind of important is you know, Public Works is currently doing a study on the landfill and the solid waste master plan. And so since food waste is such a large part of the waste stream, we'll work with Cliff on this as well, Cliff Angle. 'Cause I think he'll be, from what I understand from him, he'll probably be coming to you sometime before March to give you an update on that process. So we'll work with him on how this can also help them in terms of, you know, what they have planned moving forward with the landfill. So part of the process here would be to look at what are like what does the health department currently allow? Because, you know, there could be places where, you know, maybe they can donate extra food from restaurants, but that might not be compliant with health department regulations here. So we'll look at what can be done in that regard.
Yeah,
And,
I know businesses that put it in their dumpster and pour bleach over it so even homeless can't eat it. And for us, which isn't a lot of people, not a large percentage of ours goes into the trash to the landfill because our chickens eat it. And even the waste from the church's food pantry, we end up with all that, and that's where it goes, in the chicken house. But you know, it's an issue.
And it's interesting you bring that up, because, you know, when I was in college, and I won't talk about what retailer it was, but I worked in a retail place here in Westminster through college. And when food hits an expiration date, they just throw it out in the dumpsters. They don't give it to employees to take home. They don't let you do that. You know, my buddies and I would go into the dumpster after work and pull out like boxes of cookies that were still fine. They were in the dumpster for no reason, you know. And so I guess I would, you know, that's certainly something maybe to consider as well. And then that was not like a food or a grocery store. I mean, it was another kind of a retailer that just happened to sell the, you know, food. And it was amazing. It was like clockwork. Every week you'd go out and there would be piles of stuff that'd be fine to eat. It just had the expiration date. There's a national group that's really pushing to change the way those expiration dates are done, keeping them more for like dairy and meat and that kind of stuff, because that's a large contributor to the amount of waste in the stream.
And sell by doesn't mean
Yeah,
consume.
right, yeah,
Right.
still good,
And people throw it away because of the date.
yeah.
I saw a very interesting presentation from Howard County. Now, I recognize we're not Howard County, and they've got, can do things differently. But it was very interesting because they've initiated a program where they collect food waste, and in some neighborhoods have different waste streams, so that the food waste is collected in a separate type of receptacle. And they also collect it from the schools, because as you can imagine, a lot of schools produce a lot of food waste. They bring that to a composting facility, and then they bag it up, and then they sell it. So, very interesting concept. Cliff is probably, if he's listening, is probably running down to hit me in the back of the head for some ideas. But
In Jessup, we build bioenergy, and they create energy from food waste, which is why they're in the wholesale food market area. And I don't know how they're doing now. You know, that was a neat concept.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that, oh, I'm sorry.
I was just say there are more and more counties across the United States that are turning that into a revenue. It's not just Howard County. I've seen it living in Arizona and Massachusetts and DC, like more and more places are doing that kind of process. It's interesting to look into.
I think there's a voluntary program in Frederick County that they just started, working with Key Compost. The volunteer, you know, that they would collect it and then it transferred to them, because they've been, Key Compost has been working probably 10 years.
Composting on a large scale is tricky.
Yeah.
It's not as easy as it
Yes,
sounds.
there's a lot of regulations.
I'm assuming
Yeah.
that the food waste is also reason one would want to eliminate it from the waste stream, not only because you just don't want to fill up your landfills or any landfill, is because it creates a lot of methane
Methane.
gas,
Yep.
right? I mean, it's,
Yep.
I would think, one of the bigger contributors of things that are dumped into the landfill that creates methane because of the way it decomposes, right?
That's one of the, another reason why they, looking to limit how much food waste is in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, when North Carroll got its green school certification, we had a composting program in the cafeteria, and then they turned it over to the ag program to use it in the greenhouse and that kind of thing. So there are options, and so part of what we want to do is research those options. But, I mean, you're right about the businesses. I mean, that's got to be a huge amount of
Yes.
huge.
One aspect of this I wanted to include is contacting the food redistribution organizations in the county, Westminster Rescue, Carroll Food, and there's numerous churches that do this, to kind of get their feedback on what their needs are, what the county's needs are, because, while you have all this waste, you also have food insecurity is a huge issue for people, particularly with the price of these groceries going through the roof. So I think that once we do that, we'll also probably have a good feel for how we maybe can address businesses. Maybe that ends up being something even separate to them. What their limitations are too, whether they can even accept some of that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting.
okay. Then our third project is going to be an outreach to the local scout troops. Since scouts often volunteer on environmental stewardship projects such as stream cleanups and tree plantings and trail clearings and stuff. So this will help them, we will hope to build a rapport with the local troops and support their initiatives and look for ways the county can kind of partner with them and increase their success. I know in the past a lot of our award winners on the student level have been involved in scouts, and that's it's right up their alley.
You may remember from our discussions about our NPDES permit that one of the things that we are required to do is collect a certain amount of trash and debris every year and report that to MDE. So we're always reaching out to various groups, and if you're doing an event, just let us know how many bags of trash you collected and so on, because that all can be tallied towards our requirement. So I take my dog over to the Bennett Surf Dog Park every weekend and ran into a Girl Scout troop that has adopted Bennett Surf and made a connection with the scout leader. And so every couple months I get an email from them saying, hey, we were out again, here's a picture of our group, and we collected 3 bags and 1 bicycle and things like that. So it's a great connection and great information, and then data that we can provide to MDE that we do have groups here in the county that are doing those types of projects. And so the idea here is how do we reach out to more of these scout groups and explain to them how they can be engaged in these types of activities. Both my boys are Eagle Scouts, and we're very active in the Boy Scouts, and we did a number of projects and that I brought to the scout troop that were county projects, tree plantings and tree maintenance and things like that. So I think this is a great idea
I
to
think it's a
reach out
super
to
idea.
that resource.
Right now, first off, I think this is a great idea. We have a lot of opportunities with scouts here in Carroll County, the Baltimore Scout, BMC, whatever they're called, Baltimore,
Metropolitan Council.
BSA, what's that?
Baltimore Metropolitan Council?
No, I'm talking about the scouts themselves.
Oh, oh.
It's a regional,
Council is headquartered here?
Council.
Here?
I
Is
can't
that-
remember, I can't remember his name, but he's a really good guy, and he's really active, and Carroll County is very active with scouts.
Yes.
So I think that's great. Now, on the other topic, are you familiar with the Lions Club that's doing the cleanups at Piney?
No, I'm not.
Every week we do it, so, yeah,
Okay.
because I'm part of the Freedom Lions Club. And we took that on because, well, not because, in partnership with the Friends of Liberty Reservoir.
Yes.
We do cleanup over at the trails at the reservoir, and the Freedom Lions Club has taken on Piney Park.
Excellent. I was not aware of that. And so
Yeah.
Can you provide me with good
No.
contact information,
No.
please?
Okay,
Oh, he did say please.
he did say please,
Is
so.
that because there were people from the Lions Club who were tabling at the symposium in November as well, and they were
Yes.
talking about their
Mhm.
cleanups.
Yep, it was the same group.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the Freedom, who make the best french fries in carnival time, so. That's a different story for a different time.
Enticing.
And they don't go in the landfill, right, the fries?
They don't go in the landfill. No,
No, they're too tasty, they don't get eaten, that's the problem.
Those fries do not go in the landfill.
We're looking to complete that one by the end of the summer. That's our timetable for that one. I'm also sure we'll be doing something in conjunction again with Earth Day, whether that's tabling, at an event like we did last year at the, is that Master Gardeners, I think, event?
At
Right,
Piney Run.
at Piney Run, right. If we do something along those lines or something more hands-on, discussed it a little bit brought it up with the board, since I think we have a lot of people that are pretty active this year.
And then the environmental symposium, the EAC will participate in again as well in the fall.
Exactly. And then I guess anything else that comes up, and that's where we might want your input.
So that's the proposal. If there's anything else that you want to bring up or discuss, we can do that. If not, then, we're just looking for you to concur on the projects that they're proposing for this coming year.
Who's missing today?
We're missing 6 members. One of them's traveling, Curtis Barrett, he's the vice chair. And then we have Kathleen Marasco,
Oh, there you go.
Craig Connell, and Charlene Norris, who I thought were going to be here.
Yeah, she
Um,
often gets tied up with work.
Yeah, this one gets tied off work, no, not that one. This one. And then we have 2 members who weren't able to make it because of their jobs, Neil Goldberg and Monica Blumberg. So, like I said, 3 that we knew weren't coming, and then these 3 I thought would be here, but something must have come up.
So if everybody was here, that side of the table would be a lot longer.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Where we'd all be sitting on the block.
She used to sit up there.
any guidance from us?
Well, so with with the stream cleanups and the trash cleanups, maybe there's a way that we, not just with the Boy Scouts, but if we can reach out to any group, organization, or citizen across the county who does this of their own accord, their own volition. My dad is a routine trash collector off of 140. He goes windsurfing every year to different places, and whenever he travels, he runs into a bunch of his friends who also do windsurfing, and they make it a point to clean up the beaches that they use. Whenever I happen to be out with my dad somewhere, we will stop on the side of the road and clean stuff up, pick up a couple trash bags worth of stuff. And, if everybody can, I guess, find a way to get that information to the county, that would certainly, I guess, count toward, is there like a set amount? But what is the set amount?
Yes, we have, what is it,
11
11 tons.
11 tons.
11 tons?
11 tons is what's in our permit. And we were able to hit that without an issue this past year with our annual report. But speaking to reaching out to citizen groups, that's one of the primary purposes of the environmental symposium, is to make people aware of these different groups that have these interests. But then we also have other groups associated with the county, such as like the Monocacy Scenic River Board. They routinely go out and do these types of activities there's, I'm not going to be able to remember the national group, but there's a day in April that's
Keep America Beautiful.
I don't think
Sierra Club?
No.
Not just,
But
It's
anyways,
not Earth Day, is it?
No. It's, but in any case, we typically will participate in that, and we get, we're provided with bags and gloves and so on for volunteers. So we routinely do a couple of those, and we try and publicize those as much as possible, that citizens are welcome to come and join us for those types of activities. So, Yeah,
And when I say other groups, not just the environmental groups, but
Yeah.
there are other groups as well, businesses who have employees go out to do this kind of stuff, and you never know about it because nobody talks about it.
So the county does have the Adopt a Road program.
Right.
And so there,
Adopt a Highway.
and the rule there is you're supposed to do it at least two times a year. And you adopt, we try to get people to adopt about a mile road or less, give or take. And then, so when they provide their bags, tell, the county to come pick it up, that could also go towards your goal if you needed it.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there's the Helping Hands program through Recreation and Parks, which
Yes.
Right.
does that as well.
Yes.
And they're all on our list.
Yeah, and the big part of reaching out also is how can we, the county, help these groups, right? So if you're taking the time and effort to go and collect bags on the side of the road, can we work with Public Works to have a truck drive by and collect those and take them to landfill, so you're not having to transport them to the landfill, pay tipping fees and so on? Because you're doing a benefit to the county, so how can we help out in some little bit?
So is there, I don't know, like a brochure or a flyer or something that we have or could produce? We do have
We
something?
did do not last year, the year before, we did a public outreach piece called Litterless that gave resources for reducing litter and also included like a couple different apps you can do to record litter that you've collected and share that data. So
Also
we did.
give us
Also
a
talked
bag.
about the,
Well,
yeah.
the bag behind the chair, in the car. Didn't,
Yes.
they all gave us from wherever they came from, but they were like these bags that you put in the headrest behind your car seat.
I think there was MDOT.
Was
Maybe those.
that MDOT
Mhm.
or MDE? I don't know.
MDOT,
Okay.
Mego.
Remembering that also, but I'm not remembering exactly where.
But
MDOT and
you
Mego.
remember?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ringing a bell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that a couple years ago, or?
Yeah.
Commissioner Ralston,
Last
you
summer.
may have asked just before he spoke, I'm not sure, what do they want from us?
Yeah, and the fact is there any guidance that we want to provide to them now, or any projects that we see for them to focus on? That's the, or do we just agree right now with the 2024 plan? That's kind of where I believe we're at.
Yes.
So,
And I think it was good talk on, just now on the trash, because you brought up Lions Clubs. Almost all the Lions Clubs clean up something.
Yep.
But I don't know if they know about this.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's difficult, I mean, to tether these activities together. And, I pulled up the Lions Club, I'll share with you the
Thank you.
contact information. But it's also, again, our responsibility when we hear things. One, we're part of groups, like I'm a, proud Lion for many years and other things, and, I know churches do things, and I know the Scouts definitely do a lot of things. That we say, okay, how does this fit into our county programs, our community programs, and how do we start stitching together, so. But, yeah, no, I appreciate it, I appreciate the focus on the Scouts, I think that's a great idea, a deliberate focus. I don't see anything else, at this point.
Anything else, guys? Are we ready for a motion to adjourn?
Well, motion to accept, and then
Well, okay, first, the motion to accept.
to accept the 2024 plan.
Second.
Motion and a second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay,
Anything else before motion to adjourn? You want to do that, too?
I'll motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That was easy.